So in the previous videos we built our nav section here, nav bar, then we have the hero section as well, and we did the about section in the last video. So now in this section we're gonna talk about the work section, and also may talk more about other sections as well. So let's get started. Similar to the about section here, we're gonna add another section right here. Now I'm gonna call it, give it an idea of work. So let's do section hashtag work. That's gonna give us a section with idea of work. And then here, similar to what we did in our about section, we're gonna add a container and then add our content there. So let's go ahead and do a container, and then we also want to do some padding, this time margin, vertical margin. Y is like top and bottom of 4. This is another Bootstrap class. And then here we're gonna have a title, our like heading, it's gonna be work. And then we're gonna do another text over here, and we can give it also a class. Let's do work detail, similar to what we had up here for the about section, about detail. And then again we do a lorem ipsum here, and then I'm gonna format it, Option Shift F or Alt Shift F, and we have this here. Our live server is running. So if I go over here, probably need to restart it, and there it is, our work section right here that we just added with some dummy text there. Now for this one, I'm actually gonna follow the Netflix website. You can see like we have text on one side, then we have some like image or video, and then in the next row it's kind of like the other way around. The order changes, we have image and then text. So we're gonna try and build something similar to that. So as we talked before, this is gonna be also like 2 columns, and similar to what we did here, where we have like 3-4 columns and then did all the stuff over here. We'll do the same here. This time we're gonna have a row, and then inside my row over here, can actually, let's create a container separate for this one. You could actually, you don't need that, so let's keep it like this. And then for my columns, I'm gonna do column MD6. Don't forget the dot here. And then I want it to be call SM12, and then I'm giving it a padding of 4. Oops, I should have done this instead, padding 4, and then enter. So I get like medium. In medium size, I'm gonna get 2 columns because I'm giving 6 sections to one of these items that I'm about to add. And then for small, it's gonna be just like 1 column per row, because I'm giving 12 sections. Out of 12 sections, I'm giving it all to this one item. And then the item again, this time, first I'm gonna have my image, and then in the next column, which is gonna be similar to this, so I'm just gonna copy it and paste it over here. Instead of image, I will have the text here. So I'm just gonna copy something over here. Actually, let's do it, it's not that hard. So I do P another p tag, and then over here I'll do another lorem ipsum, format my page, and let's check it out over here. Saved it. You can see I have my image and text over here. We're gonna do the same exact thing next. So we could actually start a new row here. Let's do a new row. So I'm copying the whole thing. Now I have another row here and exactly the same thing, but in order to switch the position of these two, all I need to do is to add a class order 2 to it. That's again another Bootstrap class. It lets you switch these guys. So this one is gonna be first and that one is second. And there we go. So we could easily just switch by copy and pasting. All we needed to do is just switch, but just add this order 2 to the first one. So it means that it's gonna be on the right. Whatever we added the order 2 to, which was this image, now it's gonna be on our right, on the right side. And since we have the column SM12 also added, if I start shrinking the page, it's gonna start basically to go down to 1 per column. So as you can see here, I have image, text, text, image, and that's how we have it over here. Okay, now if you want this text to be center aligned, and I will show you what that means, you can add this style right here in your HTML file. Another way to add style is inline styling. I don't recommend that, but you could technically type style here and then do, for example, text align, and you get suggestions here, and do center. And you can repeat the same thing for here. That's one way. The other way is, let's select both of these. I did Command D. I selected one, then Command D or Control D, and it will select the next one. And then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna delete this. Instead, I'm gonna give them both a class of center text, for example. And then I can go over here and then do center text with the dot, since it's a class, text align, text align center. So remember we talked about how we can have one same class assigned to multiple elements, but we can only have one ID assigned to one element. That's like how we can take advantage of classes. So now that I have class for both of these paragraphs, whatever I do here is gonna be applied to both of them. And there we go. These are like center instead of left aligned as we had them. Now they're center aligned. And you can play with that over here as well. Select this text over here, center text. You can see there is a center text align. You can right align it. You can left align it, and so on. Again, here whatever you do is your playground. You need to make the final change over here to make sure it carries along. And now we have this work section also done. You can have like an image of your work and then like a little bit of description over here, and we do like this in reverse order, and you can basically copy and paste it over and over, and you'll have multiple item, as many as you can, multiple rows. So I have like 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. Of course, pick your image and whatever you want. The source will be like, you can download your image. I mean, you can have a JPG or PNG file here, and instead of doing source over here, you would do just like my image.jpg. So, and then my image.jpg is right here in the same folder. You could create a new folder and call it images, and then you would do like images / my image.jpg over here. So that's how you would bring in images from your local directory rather than a website. All you need to do is just change the source over here. And by the way, this alt text here is also important. It's good for SEO or search engine optimization, and also for accessibility. So you want to make sure to change these actually to something more appropriate. Like, for example, if this is your like my cat, for example, that's an image of my cat. This one is, for example, my family. Anything like for your projects, you can do like, hey, this is website for X, things like that, like kind of like descriptive of what this image actually is showing. And that's important. Just make sure this alt text is always defined and has a reasonable value assigned to it. Okay, so save again, and then lastly we want to add that border also to our work section. We could do like another like this, and then like do work. But in order to avoid repeating these, what you can do is actually, let's Control Z, Command Z, and you can just do comma and then ID of work. Hashtag work, meaning like the element with ID equal to work. They both have the same border bottom, so if you save it, it's gonna get applied over here too. It's right here, so you might not see it, but if I like scroll, you can see like the border bottom here is like a different color, and we had this over here. We had also added it over here. So now we have most of the sections ready. The last section is contact section. Before that, let me talk about this href values that we have assigned to the nav items. So what those were here, our nav items up here, about, work, contact. For about, this is the about, this is work, this is contact. I have used an anchor tag, and then href, as I mentioned before, is like to direct us to another website or a page or section in our own website. So this href, for example, can be like https www.google.com. Okay, so if I save this over here and go here and click on about, first of all, if I hover over, you see down here on the bottom left corner that it shows me, hey, it's gonna go to google.com. And I click on it, it's gonna take me to google.com. But what we want to do is for this page to scroll down to this about section. So as I click on work, I want it to go to work section and so on. And that's why we have it this way. The reason that I wanted to give about ID to section is so I can target it over here. Remember, for ID we have this hashtag. So what I'm saying is that this about, if I click on it, it's gonna go to the about section, then work will go to the work section, and contact will eventually have that, which will go to the section with ID of contact. So if I save it now, go back here, this question mark was extra there at some point, but so I have my page here. If I click on about, it scrolls down to the about section, and see here I have hashtag about added. If I do work here, it's gonna scroll down to work. And this like smooth scrolling, that's also coming from the JavaScript, Bootstrap JavaScript that we added, kind of like making it possible. Without that, it would just jump to that section. It wouldn't like scroll down like you see it here, which is really nice. Otherwise, you could have like done that hashtag about here, and it just scrolls. Also, you could do like work and then hit enter, scrolls down. So it's the same thing. Like you can send this to your like whoever you want to see the website. You can send this link to it to see your work only. I do here work, and then it's gonna like go down to work automatically. And that's basically a wrap up to this video. So now we have our sections over here, and we might wanna actually do a little bit of styling over here. So what I'm gonna do, we talked about Flexbox over here. I'm gonna do Flexbox for this thing because this is kind of like there's too much space here and they are not kind of aligned with each other. So let's go to style. This right here, I have my center text, and then this right here is my column. Okay, so what we are gonna do here actually is I'm inside my work section, and then I want to target all these like classes, all of them, because I want to make them all flex boxes. So I'm gonna assign them one single like similar name here. So I can do, for example, work item, for example, anything like that you want. So I'm gonna do work item for this one. This one is also gonna be the same. So technically this whole thing is one work item, but just so that we can assign some styling to all of them, I need to have the same name for all of these. So I do this and that. So all these columns that we have now have the same work item class. Technically I could have targeted the column here, but I don't want to do that because we might have other column classes in the other sections like up here that we don't want to mess with. There are other ways that we could do this as well, but they're more like intermediate to advanced to like target children elements, so we don't want to do that right now. I'm gonna keep it simple. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna do a dot work item. I'm gonna make it display of flex, justify content. I'm gonna do center, and then align items also center, and we'll see how this changes. So you can see like things are centered now as opposed to before. So before, what we had, I can show you. So like let's say here I have one of these work items selected. If I get rid of all the things that we just added, this is how it look like. Now if I do it display flex with justify content center, kind of like centers the images in their area, and then if I do align item center, it will also align these kind of like vertically. Yeah, so this looks much better. And as we go like to smaller screens, that same thing we can see like it's more centered. And we could have applied this to up here as well, but you can go ahead and do that on your own time. Alright, now I'm just like showing you how we can do things. Okay, so I think this is good for this one as well. In the next video, we're gonna talk about contact, and then I'll show you how you can actually connect your forms in the website to a third party like form provider, where you can like collect these emails or whatever you have in your forms, the information that the visitors provide, and then you can basically collect them in one single place. So that's all for this video. Again, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn the notification bell on. Let me know in the comment box if you have any questions and then or suggestions, and I'll make sure that I will get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you.